Hey guys, Ryan from the Mavericks. This is podcast episode 9, and today we're talking about psychological leverage. As always, there are 7 points to consider that we'll be going through in this podcast. So the first is we are social creatures, and I'll expand on that. The second is all our decisions are influenced. The third is that I'll give you an example from my personal life. Fourth point, I'll give an example in business, careers, and investments. The fifth point is leadership being all about influence. Sixth, the definition of leverage. And then 7, what is psychological leverage? And there's a bonus point, number 8, which is how to achieve psychological leverage if we encounter any hurdles. So let's dig into it. So number 1, very simply, we are social creatures. We do not live in a bubble. We do live in relationship to other people that are around us. So whatever we do for work, home life, chores, business, investments, or whatnot, it's all influenced by the people that are around us. So this is the second point I want to get to. All our decisions are influenced. So what that means is that if we apply for a certain job, or we are looking for a certain kind of partner to be with, or we're looking for a certain business to get into, all of those things are influenced by the people that are around us. And we will not be able to evade that, because that is why we live in a society. So that's the second point I want to make. I want to ensure that you know that all the decisions you make in your life and all the decisions that other people are making in their lives are influenced by the people that they are around. Third point. So let's go into an example of where you can see influence in action. So before I got married, I never used to do any housework. After I got married, I had to pull my own weight in the house. This was an influence exerted from outside, based on the fact that I was married and that there are social obligations that a husband should achieve, right? So my behavior had to change because of an outside influence. And it was a good behavior change, but it was still influenced. The second thing is, I love to sleep, and everyone should get adequate sleep every night. However, I have a 2.5-year-old son. And so when he's sick or when he's scared and he wants some help at nighttime, he's going to influence me to break my sleep so that I can go and assist him. Right? And this is another example of how influence actually changes our decisions. These are both good things, but still an example of the power of influence. Fourth point, let's go into some examples in regards to business, investing, and careers. So in terms of business, remember, as I mentioned before, the CEO of General Electric has under his command 172,000 employees. How he is able to get those thousands of employees to come to work to do what he believes is the vision of the business all depends on his ability to influence that many people. And it is a very strong amount of influence, which is why he can get that many people to do what he needs them to do. So that's business. In terms of investments, say you're buying a rental property, the price that you pay for a rental property and the price that the seller sells the property for is all defined by the influence involved in the negotiations. So if you have more influence than the seller, you can get the house at a better price than the seller can sell it for. And if the seller has more influence than you do, then they can sell it at a price that is better for them than for you. And the third example is for careers. At work, you are, again, being influenced by your colleagues and your bosses. And in terms of rising up the ranks, your boss plays a very critical role. So either your boss can be an advocate for your promotion, or your boss can hold you back. That will all depend on who has more influence. If you have more influence than your boss, you can get your boss to advocate for you. But if you have less influence and you're not on their good side, they can hold you back from climbing up the ladder. So this is, again, where influence comes into play. Now, my fifth point. Leadership in any capacity, business, investments, careers, or family life, all depends on influence direction. In what direction is influence going? If influence is going from person A, is being exerted from person A and affecting the behavior of person B, person A is the leader. So if you can get more people to be moved by your influence, you become more of a leader. Leadership and talent management is all about your ability to exert influence on other people who have other reasons to do what they do. So it's very important that you get an ability to improve your influence over other people. All right, so now that we've covered the importance of influence in points number 1 to 5, let's get to point number 6, which is the definition of leverage. Leverage is the ability to use something that's in your control to do something that is otherwise very difficult. So for example, if I wanted to tip over a really heavy box, right? Instead of trying to heave that box with my own strength, I could just take a really large pole and a fulcrum and be able to tip the box over by exerting the amount of force needed to lift the box, but over a greater amount of distance. So that's what leverage does. Leverage gives you the ability to take something that you can control and affect something that is very hard to control. All right, so this is where the whole idea of psychological leverage will come in. So point number 7, let's take this both together. We want to take influence, but we need leverage. Influencing other people can be very difficult, but if we use a form of leverage, it can be very easy. So what is the leverage that you need to exert influence on other people? What is the psychological leverage? It's called clarity. Clarity, that's it. If you can get more clear on what you want, you have more leverage, more psychological leverage. So as an example, in business, the CEO of GE knows where the business has to go better than all the employees combined, which is why he's the leader. And so because of his clarity, people will follow him in the direction that he sets. So I'll give you an example, another example as well. If you were in a forest and you need to find a way to get out of the forest, and you're in a group of people and that whole group of people is going together, the person who knows the fastest way and the safest way out of the forest is the person who becomes the leader in that circumstance, right? It makes complete sense. All that happened though was that person has clarity on the layout of the forest. So if you have clarity on the goals that you want to achieve for your business, and if everyone's going in the same direction, guess what? Everyone will follow you. So that's an example for business. And in terms of investments or in any form of negotiation, if you have clarity on the loss that the other party will have if they don't work with you, and if you have the ability to walk away from the deal because you know the numbers you need to make the deal successful because you have clarity, you can actually exert more influence on the other party because number one, you can convey to the other party what they'll lose by not working with you. And number two, you can walk away from the deal. And so when the party knows that they'll lose a lot from you walking away and that you have the ability to walk away, they'll be more likely to be influenced by you. So that's investments or any form of negotiation. And the third point in terms of careers, if you know where you need to go and how to get there, right? You have clarity, then you know who you have to work with and who you have to avoid at work, right? Whose good sides do you have to be on and whose bad sides do you have to avoid? That all depends on clarity. So clarity is the psychological leverage that you have control over to influence other people. Clarity is a very powerful thing. All you got to do is spend some time thinking about what you really want and be very clear about it, right? And it's a practice that we should all practice anyway. Now, in terms of the bonus point, which is how to get clarity, it's very simple. All you got to do is sit down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day and think about what it is you really want. What is it you really want to achieve in your business, in your investments, in your career? Define that, because the more clear you are, the more leverage you have with the people that you work with, right? But you might wonder, I'm not getting very clear on my goals. So for example, I'm having that same problem at the shop. Sometimes I'm trying to figure out what to do with the center space of the shop. Like the back end will be a barbershop and the front end will be a bar. But what about the center? And I can't really see what it could be, except I'm thinking of it being sort of like a Mavericks clubhouse, but I still can't see it clearly. So this is the method that I use to get clarity. First of all, I literally ask my subconscious brain, hey, subconscious brain, this is the problem I have. I need you to help me solve it, right? And now 90% of the horsepower that is between your ears will be spent trying to figure out the question you pose to it, because your brain is a problem solver, all right? So that's that point. So you let your subconscious brain work on it. The second thing you do is you act on what you know, right? You don't just stall or dilly-dally. You move forward based on the information you have and the thought you have about how to approach it. You just work towards the goal that you're trying to achieve, right? You just try to get as much clarity as possible and then make forward decisions from there. The reason is as follows. In time, the activity of your subconscious brain plus the experience you accumulate in both those activities will result in clarity. So let me say that again. If you let your subconscious brain work on what it has to work on, and you go out there and just act on what you know, the experience from it plus the activities of the subconscious brain will get you clarity. So that's the best way to get clarity, and therefore psychological leverage, and therefore to influence people. Now, last point before I go, as always, we are the Mavericks. And the Mavericks is essentially a group of people, our group, that believes that all of us must have autonomy over our income, power over the money we want to make. So whether that's in business, investments, or our careers, we want autonomy over our income. And that's what our group is for. Now, to pursue this is very difficult and it's very lonely. Entrepreneurship, investments at a young age, trying to climb up the career ladder when everyone else is out there partying, it's a very lonely journey. You don't need to do that alone. Just join the Mavericks. We are that same group doing the exact same thing. You might as well do it all together as one group. The biggest thing I want to leave you with is the Mavericks is a group going to the first million and beyond. So we're doing it all together. Join the group. You can join us by visiting our website, mavericks.goldwynandsons.com. Again, that's mavericks.goldwynandsons.com. All the information is in the details below. Sign up. You'll join our group. We'll share information together about how to get to the first million and beyond, and especially have autonomy over our own income. Plus, I have a whole bunch of free gifts that I believe that you will really benefit from if you just give it a chance. Just go look at what I have to offer, and I think you'll really take to it. So this is Brian from the Mavericks. I'll see you for podcast episode 10. Thank you.